Okay, folks, Mirrorpoint turn 14. This turn actually went pretty well. So the Throne of the Moon has been claimed by somebody here, but there was a battle in Inarime as my first small army moves south, and they did a really good job, just wiped out some province defense, no trouble. Hector Stark, for some reason, is charging way ahead of the rest of his cavalry, which I don't want, but he did fine. Heavy cavalry slaughtered everybody. In Dubros, meanwhile, Bugsy Seagull actually landed on top of a small party of reinforcements. So they had a High Cleric, several Scion Knights who appear to be back here on Guard Commander, and then Province Defense and Light Infantry. And he summoned a couple of Fire Elementals and then started dropping, he threw a Flare for some reason, and then started dropping his Fire Blast ability. Didn't really hit anybody, did say, well, he hit somebody right there. And the Lesser Fire Elementals just kind of charged forward. We did some damage here. Yeah, we set some of those guys on fire, and they ran. This guy got an affliction. He lost an arm, but that was about all. The rest of those... Oh, this guy has an affliction, too. He's weakened. So, okay. Yeah, we didn't get any of the important units, but we drove them off the field and took possession of Dubros, and the Radiants got 5 kills. Very nice. So, yeah, you can see here we killed Deer Tribe Archers, Drang-like Infantry, none of the Scion Knights dead, but we also killed some of the province defense there. And then in Iprissia, we were attacked. This was our province to the south of the forest. And he just sent a small raiding party of Scion Knights to take out my province defense, which he absolutely did. No trouble. Since Scion Knights are quite effective infantry, they're very good at cutting down infantry, especially because they have that built-in Thunder Weapons Bless, which makes them just a lot more powerful. And their magic resistance is fairly high as well. So, they drove me off the field there. Wick Forest has been breached. And so they do have that same army they had before assembled to attack it. They've also got Scion Knights and Drang-like Infantry down here. I'm not sure if these are new reinforcements or part of this army that split off. I think this was part of the army that split off. So probably was this. I don't know about this one. But my troops are assembling. So next turn, I'll have these 30 units here. My army, my counter-attacking army, will be assembled here. And it's a pretty stalwart force. We've got a good little grip of troops. And we're going to move up our water elemental casters. So we'll be spamming water elementals into the back of our own soldiers, who will just be set to attack closes. They just have to go in order to hopefully reach the enemy before the mind burns to do too much damage. Like I said, great sentries can survive one mind burn. Warrior bugs cannot. Moss Knights cannot. Usually, unless it rolls low. If it rolls really low, they might live, but usually not. Heavy cavalry, of course, have slightly higher magic resistance, so the mind burns may not destroy them quite as thoroughly. But what's probably going to happen is my chaff is going to get evaporated as it charges. The Great Sentries now, I moved away from that too early. The Great Sentries are hard enough that they might be able to carry through, and that's kind of my hope here, is that the Great Sentries, supported by the water elementals and such, will be able to carry through. So, what we're doing here is we're setting up to make our defense as annoying as possible. So, you, sir, are just going to spam out lesser water elementals for as long as your gems hold out. We'll give you 8 gems. So, you can cast them for 33 each, approximately. What's your spellcasting coverage for? 37. Yeah, I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be able to do that. Lucky Luciano standing back here on spells. These guys are on hold and attack rear. These guys are going to be on attack closest because I want to get them to the gate in order to block the enemy up in the gate insofar as possible. And Zessie, the snail shaman, is of course up front with his 13 magic resistance, and so he should be able to get some stuff done. I think I will Divine Bless, maybe, just to get the Twist Fate with Lucky. So yeah, drop Divine Blessing to make sure that that Shaman gets blessed. And Dragul, the Hallownest captain, will be back here, and he will be on hold twice and attack rearmost enemy. Great. Actually, we're going to have them hold and attack archers, I think, because archer targeting is 100% accurate, whereas rear targeting is not. And he's got his archers right back by his commanders. So the goal here will be, these guys go to block up the gate. They will start dying horribly to mind burn immediately. Like 3 dudes around will be mind burned to death. And then, after 2 rounds of them being slaughtered and the water elementals will be going forward, we should still have the HP left on the field, hopefully, for these Hallownest Lancers and this Hallownest Captain to jump into the back, get a little bit of our own back, do a little bit of damage, and hopefully we'll at least make him pay for this fort a little bit. And then next turn, our mighty army will be assembled, and we will move back in. I'm sending Bugsy Seagull to actually besiege this fort. Unless he has sacreds and several priests here, he can't stop me from doing this. So I'm definitely going to be able to take that out. Those guys, I think, are leaderless because they just routed to the wrong place. So it should be easy enough for Bugsy Seagull to take that place. And if they move troops to try and retake this province, they might be surprised by this army jumping on them, because I'm not sure they know that this army can hop to this province, unless you've been paying very close attention. So that might give me an opportunity to take out part of the enemy force without having to fight the whole thing right up front. And that would be very, very nice. So, that will be the plan. Could I actually recruit anything valuable here? I could recruit some Deer Tribe. Yeah, that actually would kind of be valuable. We'll just pump out 3 Deer Tribe. We'll mix them into the front line. And hopefully they'll accomplish something. I mean, a lot of his troops are trash chaff as well, so bringing a little bit of trash chaff, I can't say words. Bringing a little bit of trash chaff wouldn't be out of line. We're also getting Pud with these troops down here, and Bansika with these guys over here. So like I said, we're assembling about another 30 units, and then they'll move down to support 1 turn later. And we've also got our buddy Idro hopping down with those 9. We've got these 15, gonna get another 15. And then he'll be buzzing on in to help crack the fort as well. So I think this war is probably off to a pretty good start. I think we're in a good place. Now, the Mind Burn is, of course, going to remain the most dangerous thing for us, and so we've definitely got to be getting at the mages very quickly, and or bringing units that are largely immune to Mind Burn, which is none of my units, unfortunately, but, I mean, what you gonna do? Getting anti-magic would be great. Where is anti-magic again? Enchantment 4, because I can just cast anti-magic right off the bat. So let's get Evocation 3, and then we're going to book it down enchantment. We're going to get anti-magic, and then we're going to get Soul Warriors. We put that off long enough. And we'll need some construction for them too, but for right now we need to just do that. If we can get anti-magic, we will be in a lot better place, because then we can just bring a Soul Twister along, throw down anti-magic. Now our troops are above average resistant to magic, as opposed to not resistant to magic, and that'll be fun. Topagog is researching right now, but what I actually need him to be doing is wandering around site searching, so because I need more astral income. 2 is not gonna cut it. Water and fire income doing okay. I could use more, of course, but I don't really want to take dudes off research to go site searching right at the moment. I am, however, recruiting a forest shaman here in order to start site searching for those paths, and Tom here is site searching for earth, so that will be great. Great, great, great. And up here I am building a temple with Pud so that I can start recruiting snail shamans up here as well. Once I do that, I will switch over to Soul Twisters. So I think everything's going pretty much to code. We'll see how well we do. Shutting this down will hurt his income, which will really help. It will also hurt his recruitment, which will really help. So we'll stop that. He's recruiting Varangian pirates, which I think means he's going to try and launch a sailing attack, because Varangian pirates and captains can sail. So I'm gonna lock that down as quick as I can, and we'll see what's what. So that's turn 14. I'll see you all in turn 15. Alright folks, Mirrorpoint turn 15, and here's the news of the war. The whole Dranglike army actually moved off of Wick Forest in order to try and hit my god, who of course had moved. And they actually landed on my assembling army. They may have been aiming for the army. He may have figured out, from moving here, he may have seen the Inkpot end and figured out that I was going to skip over it and gather my forces here. If so, props to him. He made the correct move in that regards. Although, honestly, in his position, I mean, the fort was broken. In his position, I think I would have taken the fort and tried to hold my ground. But in any case, there was a battle in Dubros. There was a battle in the New Coast where the Radiants went and besieged the fort just to hurt his income and be a nuisance. And then there was a battle in Dubros. And so this battle, he's got his big old line of Scion Knights. He's got about 50 Scion Knights. He's got his Shades, which are very effective chaff. He's got his Soulsmiths. He's got his national heroes, Velstadt the Royal Aegis, and Jesus Christ Superstar the Prophet, who is Raimi the King's something. I forget what he's called. This is the Royal Aegis. He's the Royal Knight, something like that. And he's got his archers in the back. On my side, I've got my huge big line of infantry, largely composed of great sentries. Moss Knights in the center, mixed in with chaff. I've got my heavy cavalry, and I've got my 4 mages in the back, summoning lesser water elementals. So the battle starts. The mind burns start coming in. The mind burns, as predicted, are a lot less effective on the great sentries. So you can see they are targeting the great sentries. They're actually what they're doing is they're targeting mainly the chaff. They're mainly killing warrior bugs with the mind burns right off the bat, and they are effectively killing them pretty well. The arrows coming in, doing very, very little damage, just little bits of chip damage. Then the Scion Knights begin to advance. My cavalry gets caught up on the end and basically destroyed. That, with the Divine Blessing, they've got the magic resistance, the magic weapons, and that Thunder Weapons effect is very, very powerful. It's a really, really, I mean, it's an Air 7 Bless. It's really, really useful. Plus, they just hit for pretty high damage. So the Scion Knights come in. They get distracted by the archer, by the heavy cavalry. But in this case, that actually works in the enemy's favor, because that means that my troops all clump up on the Shades. And the Shades, of course, have their Steel Strength attack, where they lower your strength, but more importantly, they're ethereal. They just ignore 3/4 of hits, which makes them take a long time to die. And so my troops bog down on the Shades, surrounding them and very slowly killing them, while the Scion Knights get to flank me from the south and gang up on a few units at a time. So you can see this great sentry, he's taken a bunch of hits. He took several hits just there. He's still alive because he has relatively high prot and a lot of HP, but he's stunned and his shield is broken. So they kill the whole southern flank of my force here. And the great sentries take a long time to die, but they do die. To this gang of Scion Knights. They also take more than their own numbers with them, even in this bad situation, which I thought was very, very interesting. However, the Scion Knights effectively rout a number of my squadrons. They break the morale, because the average morale in these squadrons is, like I said, more like 14 than 17. So they break my squadrons. However, in the carnage here, Raimi dies. If you noticed, Raimi went up there after he'd finished his spell casting script. He went in with his greatsword, and he was killed. So Raimi is dead forever, so that's a national hero gone. But at this point, my troops start to rout. Now, even routing great sentries, actually, I guess they're not routing until just then, so they do eventually rout. They take most of the Scion Knights with them. Like, the strict majority of the Scion Knights are killed. But I do lose the battle. I am chased off the field, and one of my Snail Shamans is also caught. So, casualty-wise, I lost more units. However, more of my units were chaff. I lost my mercenaries. I lost about half of my Moss Knights. I lost most of my warrior bugs, and I lost about half of my great sentries. He lost over half his Scion Knight. He had 28. I said he had 50. I was thinking of their kills. They got the strict majority of the kills here. So he lost about half his Scion Knights, pretty much all his Shades, all his Ogres, a few random infantry, and he lost the Royal Blade. That's what he's called. Raimi, the Royal Blade. So that's a big hit, to lose a national hero like that. This guy is irreplaceable, and in the late game, he would have been a very effective thug, since he has Fire 2, so he can cast Phoenix Pyre. And his stats are very good. I think part of the issue was that he had made this guy his prophet, and may have failed to account for the HP penalty for being an enemy dominion. He didn't have 40 hit points, he was more like 28, so he only took a couple of hits to kill. He still has the Royal Aegis, he still has all his mages. I lost one mage, one Snail Shaman. Overall, looking at this, I lost more money, because the Scion Knights are cheaper than my Great Sentries, and we lost even numbers. I killed off a bunch of summons, and overall, I'm not too sad about this. Yes, my army was broken, but that wasn't the only army I had coming in. I'm just going to double check to confirm Raimi's HP here. Or Raimi, however you pronounce that. Yeah, 24. That's what I thought. So yeah, he was quite weak. Overall, so what's happened here is, unfortunately, I do have Urban here. Urban has retreated. But Urban is just gonna... Urban actually collected a whole bunch of the surviving Great Sentries. So he's actually just gonna go right back in. If this army moves, Urban can deal pretty significant damage to it. Bugsy Seagull, meanwhile, is jumping down to Wick Forest, as well as all the rest of my armies. Now, I could, if I wanted to be really, really clever, I could try to send Idro somewhere, but Idro has a full load of Hallownest Lancers, and he is jonesing for a little bit of revenge. These armies are splitting up because Pud is slow, so Pud can only move to Inarime, but Bansika with the higher speed Moss Knights, and I'm going to give him the Hallownest Lancers as well. Bansika can get down to Wick Forest, so if we look at the troops, so if this army tries to move back to Wick Forest, nah, they're going to get riggedy wrecked, because I have over 50 Hallownest Lancers in the back set to jump on them. In the front, I've researched Evocation 3, so I can now throw Acid Bolts, which will be fantastic against those Scion Knights. I have a kind of mixed front line. I've got a few Great Sentries, I got a bunch of Moss Knights, I got some Warrior Bugs. Overall, this will work pretty well, and this army outnumbers him significantly at this point. So I don't think that the Mind Burn will be able to stop me. I'm going to actually set these guys on Hold and Attack Archers, because as I said, that is reliably accurate, whereas Hold and Attack Rear is not. And yeah, they're just going to jump straight to the back and wreak havoc. And I think they will wreak havoc. They have these two captains who are also attacking, and we're going to have Bugsy Seagull right there. He's going to twist his own fate. He actually already has the twist fate because he's blessed in his own dominion, so he does not need to do that. He will... What'll he do? He could power the spheres. He doesn't really need to cast any spells, to be honest. He could throw fireballs, but I'd rather he just fire. So he's going to fire at enemy archers as well. So he's just going to start... Actually, no. He's going to fire at large enemy... Ooh, wait a second. How big is the Royal Aegis? Only size 4. I don't think fire large target size 4 preferentially. I would love to kill the Royal Aegis as well, just sort of as a slap in the face. I'll try it. I mean, if it doesn't target size 4, which I don't think it does, I think it only targets 5 or 6. But if it doesn't target size 4, he'll just target randomly, which is fine. So, if he moves back down to Wick Forest and attempt to besiege the place, I will destroy his army, and I will get Wick Forest back. I may, in fact, be able... He's got a lot of mermen here for some reason. Are those mercenaries? No, they're not mercenaries. He's got a lot of mermen here as well as Scion Knights. I don't think he can take me. I think this was a poor decision on Dranglek's part. He may have been really hoping that he could bring Anor Londo in to sandwich me, but it did not pay off. It is not paying off for him. And since Anor Londo and I now have a non-aggression pact, my troops are pretty much freed up. We can see Anor Londo does have a fortress up here, but they haven't taken this province. So their expansion is not as well developed as I was afraid. That's Satis up there. We're gonna launch some scouts up north. We've got this scout moving in. We're trying to infiltrate Ulm as well, but we failed this turn. In terms of research, of course, we are going straight down to Enchantment 5 to get Soul Warriors, which will be great. And yeah, we're starting to recruit mages up here, so we're recruiting Snail Shamans there. We are recruiting Mountain Shamans over here. As soon as we bust this fort free, we'll recruit Forest Shamans, and we recruited one Forest Shaman, Bifrons, and got Nature 2 randoms. We could go straight over to Soul Twisters. Let's actually recruit a couple more Forest Shamans to get the Death random. So we can start site searching for Death as well. And we are going to be launching out to do some of that sweet, sweet site searching I'm talking about. We've got Volden and Tom. And Monhelte, of course, is moving around site searching for Astral, so we don't need anybody else to site search for Astral right at the moment, especially since Monhelte can fly. Can he get there in one turn? He cannot. Okay, well, those are all site searches for Astral, so Monhelte, yeah, hop up there, and then you might be able to get over to Gold Mountains. Yeah, you should be able to get over to Gold Mountains then, and you can start site searching for Astral and Death up here. So I'd love to get a little bit of death income going. A little bit more death income would be great. And then in a couple turns, we'll start recruiting Soul Twisters. Actually, I may want to just start recruiting Soul Twisters. Let's just start recruiting Soul Twisters right now. And yeah, I think we're doing well, to be honest. I think we're in a pretty solid position. Not quite as dominant as I wanted to be, obviously, but good enough. Orym has expanded across here, so kicking Orym off this island is definitely on the agenda. They don't have any military units, and it doesn't look like they're building any forts up here, which is great, but I am definitely going to want to shove them off. And we've got good scout infiltration of Anor Londo. We're moving over a Pathfinder in order to infiltrate their capital. And yeah, I think things are going pretty well. We do want to expand our scout network to the south, but it's fairly healthy right now. We've got pretty much a band around the world, and we can just push it north-south and meet in the middle along this line, and I think we'll be fine. So yeah, that's the turn. Doing well. I'm excited about this. We're going okay. To be honest, I'm really impressed with Hallownest as a nation so far. Their troops are powerful. Like that situation, when you're fighting, you know, a fair assemblage of what I can only categorize as pretty powerful sacreds, you kind of have to expect to really get the boot put to you, especially when they've got, I mean, they had the magic that counters my entire nation. They had 2 of their big heroes here. They have an assemblage of their sacreds. And I went up against that with a little bit of a ragtag army, and I did okay. Not great. Like I said, I still lost the trade monetarily speaking, because my great sentries and their Scion Knights, my great sentries are 5 gold more each, so that's a few hundred gold there. Their shades, it depends on what conversion ratio you want for gems. Killing summons like this is decent, but they did their job, so yeah, in terms of resources lost, I lost more resources, but I successfully proved that I can fight their sacreds, and I killed a hero. So I'll take that trade. I'll accept it. It's fine by me. In terms of unexpected events, got a little bit more income in Wolfenplain. I got a few gems in Nam, a little bit of luck in Anormark, which doesn't matter, and a few more gems in Cormark. So my gems are doing all right, actually. And we're doing good. After Enchantment 5, we'll kind of reset, see where we want to go research-wise. My research is still pretty abysmal. I really need to start improving it more, but as I pump out more and more mages, it will, of course, get better. Vol'dun, I'm just going to be pumping out these mountain shamans basically non-stop. Snail shamans are better researchers, but it's worth it. It's worth it to have the earth magic available. And the communion potential, of course. So, there we are. It's been a good turn. And we're in position to definitively prove to Drangleic why they should not have messed with us. If they don't come in to take Wick Forest, we're going to build it into a full fortress and start retaking provinces, and hopefully we can take the new coast as well. I think we can, but I will of course need to keep recruiting, pumping more units, recruiting more Great Sentries. Great Sentries are very, very valuable, as that battle showed. I haven't really proven the value of the Hallownest Lancers yet, although I think they will be potent. And down here we're spamming a whole bunch of warrior bugs. I'm actually gonna cancel these little boys, and get some. Well, I can't get another Great Sentry because I don't have the resources. I might as well intermix them with warrior bugs. Yeah, I might as well do that. There's no reason not to. And of course, we're recruiting a few Moss Knights from down there. Actually, what I can do, though, is I can intersperse these guys with Moss Knights. Like that. This may seem slightly cheesy, but it is a... this is valuable, because this ensures that when you're recruiting them by groups like this, this order in which they're recruited determines where they're placed on the battle grid, and so having them like that actually gets them spaced properly. Let's do it that way, like that. And then with 7, what can we do with 7 recruitment points? We can just have another bug after him. There. So we got 4 Moss Knights mixed in there to add a little bit of punch, and this kind of interlacing. I'm sorry I didn't explain that earlier, unless I did and I've forgotten. This kind of interlacing is actually quite valuable in a way that you don't really think about until you have to do it. Yeah, in terms of resources, more warrior bugs and less great sentries would be ideal, but I really want the great sentries for punch. So we'll leave it at that. So, thanks for watching. I've actually rambled a little bit, so this is longer than I was anticipating. In any case, I'll see you all in turn 16, and we'll see where we go from here. Take care. Alright, folks, Mirrorpoint turn 16. This turn was really disappointing. Very disappointing. So, there was a battle in Wick Forest. Let's take a look at it. So, in Wick Forest, the full might of our army is assembled. We have our god, Bugsy Seagull. We've got a few mages, with no gems, unfortunately. We've got a fairly thin front line, but in the back we have our our secret weapon, as it were, about 50 Hallownest Lancers set to attack rear. On the enemy side, big blob of Scion Knights, big blob of Archers, and a few mages and stuff. The mages are the most important. Actually, no, I was about to say the mages are the most important part. They're not. The Scion Knights are the most important part. Scion Knights are such a problem. So, we begin. Mages start throwing acid bolts, which miss, do a little tiny bit of damage here. Bugsy Seagull starts throwing down his fiery bolts of justice. Not doing a whole lot of damage. The acid bolts continue to miss horribly, as does Bugsy Seagull. The mind burns, meanwhile, of course, are not. And here come the Hallownest Lancers, and they chew in through the enemy infantry, but they then, they don't accomplish a whole lot else. And, of course, most of the Scion Knights move back to fight them. This was what I was hoping would not happen. This is why I delayed, to give them time to get fully engaged, but the front line crumbled so quickly. The Moss Knights, and even the Warrior Bugs, just cannot hold up to the Scion Knights, largely because of that Thunder Weapons effect. Because of the stun, they're not getting many attacks. My troops do not get many attacks. They don't really get to accomplish much. So the Scion Knights shoot through them with contemptuous ease. They swing back here to attack the Hallownest Lancers, who cannot fight them effectively, and the Hallownest Lancers are routed in fairly short order. They take out most of the enemy back line, but none of the mages. And my troops are driven completely off the field. So, yeah, it went badly. Like I said, we killed or routed almost all of his secondary troops, but almost none of his Scion Knights. My Moss Knights did kill a few of the Scion Knights, but they just died so quickly, largely because they got stunned. They got stunned, and then when they're stunned, they can't defend themselves, and they can't attack back. My Great Sentries were sniped out by Mind Burn before they ever made contact, all three of them. My Radiance, Bugsy Seagull only got 3 kills. The Steel Shamans got a grand total of 1 kill, just because of the inaccuracy of what they were doing. It was a mess. It was bad. Yeah. I'm a little bit distressed by it, to be honest. The Hallownest Lancers performed very poorly. More poorly than I had expected. I had expected with 55 of them jumping onto, about 40 random assorted low-cost infantry. I had assumed that that first landing would kill off most of these guys, and then they could get into the mages. And my goal had been at least to kill some of the mages. Possibly the Royal Aegis, but probably not. But some of these guys. Killing off some of these guys would have been big. The High Clerics actually caused quite a bit of damage, because they have this national lightning spell, which I think is a little bit... Anyway, it's very thematic for them to have that, I suppose. In any case, they did well. The High Clerics did well. And the Scion Knights just butchered everything they came in contact with for almost no casualties. So, yeah, that's very challenging. We lost a scout in Ulm. We found some income there. We got some death there, unfortunately. Blood magic is cheaper this month, which doesn't really matter. In any case, and Aurum has declared your mod nation suck to be the prophet, which is fine. So, here's the big problem now. My god, Bugsy Seagull, is now trapped in this fort, along with my prophet, Lucky Luciano. So, I can call Bugsy Seagull back. It'll be a pain in the neck, since I only have Holy One priests. I'll have to spend time recruiting priests in order to do that, but this is an issue. What I'm doing here is I'm assembling some troops over here. I'm pulling together more troops here. I don't have the forces to destroy this army, but I may be able to hold the fort. It's going to take them one more turn to break the wall down. I might potentially be able to keep them from storming it if I can get enough. No, not really, because he's got another full army moving in. Basically, this is lost. I've lost this battle. What I actually need to do, frankly, is just pull back. So, Bugsy Seagull is going to die. He's casting fires from afar just to be a nuisance, to see if maybe he can kill one of those mages, since the mages are unprotected. They're just human HP dudes with no armor. So if he hits them with fires from afar, they're going to die. And I might as well. So Bugsy Seagull's going to do that. He's going to try to break out and escape. But when you retreat, you almost always retreat right back into the fortress. So realistically, he's not going to get away. Now, thinking about what I could do to maybe help him get away, there's not a whole lot. Because what he needs is shock resistance, and I don't have the paths to forge a shock resistance item. I just don't. I don't have any. I have Rabbit's Foot Charm, won't help me. I don't have air magic. If I had air magic, I could forge the ring that gives you shock resistance, but my nation has 0 air magic. If I gave Bugsy Siegel shock resistance, he could probably fight his way out, because he does a ton of damage in close proximity, and he's ethereal, and he has Twist Fate on. He can cast Personal Luck on himself. He would be almost impossible to kill if it weren't for the shock damage. Unfortunately, the shock damage exists. So, he's going to get stunned as soon as he gets into close combat with Scion Knights. And as soon as he gets stunned, he's going to die. That's the basic problem. Once he gets stunned, they're just going to surround him and wail on him, and he will go down very, very quickly. Now, I think, I only have 1 Earth Gem, but what I'm going to do here, I can forge him a Black Steel Full Plate, and I think I will. I can alchemize some stuff, just to make it more costly, because if he's wearing a Black Steel Full Plate, that in combination with the invulnerability will give him a huge amount of protection against mundane damage. He's tall enough they can't hit his head anyway. So the only thing that will be hurting him will be shock damage. He will still die, but it'll be slower. I'm so irritated by this, to be honest. And yeah, there's no way I can defend him against that. I don't even have Fire Shield yet. I have enchantment. Well, Fire Shield is enchantment 3, so here's what I can do. Let me alter my orders here. Zerfaric, just research. So we can hit enchantment level 3 this turn. You have 9 research points, so we're going to alchemize. We're going to alchemize up some earth gems. We're going to convert some death gems and nature gems back to pearls to keep a good grip of them. We're going to forge the Black Steel Full Plate. Bugsy Siegel doesn't have arms, so yeah, we're going to slap a couple of an item or 2 on him here. We don't have any construction, obviously, so we can't forge him a Ring of Regeneration. If he had a Ring of Regeneration, he might be able to tank it through, because with 160 hit points, regenerating 16 HP per round, if the only damage he's taking is from the capped shock damage, he might be able to pull it out if he had a Ring of Regen, but of course at this time, nobody has Rings of Regen. So the goal is just to make him tough enough that he can kill a significant fraction of the enemy army, especially when supported with elementals. We'll be spamming out as many lesser water elementals as we can, and that will help. We're going to lose, but I just want to take as many of them with us as we can without throwing a whole lot more troops after it. So yeah, Bifrons is searching. Tom is moving with some units. He doesn't actually need to. Just search for magic sites. We're gonna hold him here, basically, is the goal. The plan is that we're going to hold in Aal. I'm going to build another fort there, and if he wants to attack me, we're going to force him to move through Disease Land. And see what we can do about those Scion Knights. Scion Knights are just very difficult to stop. Upon recruitment with no bless, they're the equivalent of quite heavily blessed Sacreds, and stat-wise, they're pretty solid. Like, 19 protection is the important factor. 19 protection and 12 strength, which gives their Scion Swords. Scion Swords are good weapons, which gives them a very hard hit. Or, well, hard. It's not super, super hard, but they hit hard. They've got slightly above human HP, attack skill and defense skill, both very good. The important thing, though, is just having 19 protection. 19 protection plus the stun effect means that they are incredibly, incredibly tough. The only way... Now, there is a way to stop these guys. The way to stop these guys is to take a Fire Shock Resistance Bless. If you take a Fire Shock Resistance Bless on a decent Sacred, you'll mulch Scion Knights, because they still do have just human HP and 1 attack each. If you don't have that option, you're fucked. And this is the situation I'm in. I don't have that option. I don't have the ability to give myself a lot of shock resistance yet. I will in a little bit. Because I think it's down enchantment, not down enchantment, alteration. I go down alteration, I can get lightning resistance. Once I hit lightning resistance, I can roll over Scion Knights with Great Sentries. But that's a ways down. That's alteration level 5, and alteration is not the school I want to research first, so it's not the school I've been researching. I've been researching enchantment, so that I can get soul warriors and anti-magic. I need anti-magic. I'm going to have to research alteration level 5, but I don't think I'm even going to be able to get there unless I can stop him hard right here. And that is going to require a lot of troops, especially a lot of Great Sentries. Great Sentries are the only unit that can really stand up, so we're spamming them out. Fuck Hallownest Lancers, they're worthless. We're spamming out Warrior Bugs over here, just for mass, for numbers. Up here, once again, fuck Hallownest Lancers. We're going to spam Warrior Bugs. We're going to have to swarm him with 1,000,000 Warrior Bugs, backed up by the Great Sentries. And what the Warrior Bugs will do basically is just provide so many units that he can't get around them. That will be the goal. Nope, just as many Great Sentries as possible. So, it's gonna be a trick. It's gonna be tricky. We'll see what we can do here. Anor Londo has told me that unless I can do well, they're going to declare war on me, which I kind of expected. If they do, I'm going to lose. If they don't, if I manage to stop Dranglake here, then I might be able to recover from this. Even with this, I still have an okay amount of territory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's not great, but it's survivable, probably. If I really, really wanted to, I could take these off Aurum, but that would throw me into another war, which I probably can't win. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The loss of Bugsy Seagull is going to hurt, and I'm going to have to spend mage turns recruiting these fuckers who don't matter. But, we're going to try to make it happen. We are going to try to make it happen. What I'm probably going to do, actually, is up here, I'm going to start pumping out Hallownest Devout. Just to get ahead of the curve. A few turns of them. I'll pump out 6 or 8 or 10 of them, and then start summoning Bugsy Seagull back. It'll take a few turns. So, that's the situation. It's not ideal, but it's not the worst it could be. What I may do... Yeah, see, I just have no air magic. I have no access to air magic whatsoever. If I had air magic, this would be a lot easier, because then the play would be to equip a whole bunch of commanders with Rings of Tamed Lightning. I can probably buy Rings of Tamed Lightning off somebody, but I can't get them. I should have done that last turn, because I cannot have somebody forge a Ring of Tamed Lightning and send it to me in time to save Bugsy Seagull. I'm going to contact a couple of the other players, see if I can get a hold of one. If I can, next turn, that would be huge, because if I can put a Ring of Tamed Lightning and that Black Steel Full Plate on Bugsy Seagull, I think he can hold this place alone. Seriously, I think he can hold it alone. If he's immune to shock damage, and he has high protection, and on top of his ethereality, he can absolutely wipe that army. So I'm going to see if I can do that, but don't hold your breath. So, in any case, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in turn 17. Alright, brief update. So, I have ordered a Ring of Tamed Lightning from Lothric. They don't have it right now, unfortunately. So it's going to take them at least a turn to forge, and then another turn to send. What that means is I am going to launch these troops in just in an effort to delay. That won't delay them is the thing. What I need is I need one more turn. I'm one turn short. If I can get that ring to Bugsy Seagull before the fortress is stormed, I'll be okay. So, I don't know how to do that. I don't think there's a way. Because if he's smart at all, right, and I assume he is because he's been outguessing me and beating me so far, so he's at least smarter than I am. This army is going to move up here. That palisade will explode instantly, because that will be enough siege strength to blow it up. And then he will storm immediately. And he'll take my prophet out, he'll take my god out, everyone will die. The only way I see for that not to happen is if this army moves, if he's content to keep me under siege and wants to try and shut down my troops up here. If this army moves up here, to retake this province, and my fires from afar deals significant damage to this army, such that this fort ends up at like 2 wall integrity, which might happen. Unfortunately, I don't have any way to affect that, so yeah, I guess I'm just gonna keep the same. Plan. If this army moves up here, it'll run into these guys and hopefully take some damage. The fires from afar will hurt this army a little bit, and I might. It's all dependent on what Drangleic does. If they move in here to reinforce the fort army, then I'm boned. But if they're content with taking an extra turn, then this could get very interesting, because then they'll be facing Bugsy Seagull with effectively 30 or so protection, and immunity to shock damage. And that would be a very different prospect. So we'll see. Probably not going to work out, but it might. It's worth a shot. In any case, I'm sending 9 gems, 9 astral pearls over to Haerdalas, to which one was he? Lothric, that's right. Over to Lothric in order to pay for the ring, and we'll see where we go. So, thanks for watching. See y'all next time.